After 2 weeks of will she or won't she, Trump-appointed federal judge Aileen Cannon finally ruled on Labor Day that, yes, Trump will get that special master, or third-party arbiter, if you will, in the mysterious case of how over 11,000 government records, including over 100 that were classified or had top-secret designations, how all that paper wound up at Trump's beach club in Florida. Judge Cannon ruled that Trump will get that request for the special master to decide which documents are covered under attorney-client privilege and also, more surprisingly, which are covered by executive privilege. That Stop the Press's ruling yesterday has left the DOJ with some decisions it now has to make. First, and most essentially, what do we do now? Does the department appeal the ruling? A DOJ spokesperson said yesterday that the government is, quote, examining the opinion and will consider appropriate next steps in the ongoing litigation. There is also the issue of what is sometimes referred to as the Justice Department's 60 to 90-day rule. It's not an actual rule, but rather a department policy that prohibits investigative steps that could potentially influence an upcoming election. And, of course, we are now 63 days from Election Day. So will that stop the department from taking any further steps in this criminal investigation? And then there's the Director of National Intelligence and her ongoing damage assessment of those documents to see if Trump's unauthorized handling and storage of them potentially harmed national security. That review, Judge Cannon ruled, is allowed to continue, supposedly. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence is part of the executive branch. So what does it mean that that office can continue its work while the DOJ cannot, as it concerns these seized documents from Mar-a-Lago in August? And finally, there is the question of who in the world is going to serve as a special master in this case. That person will likely need a top secret clearance, and you cannot find people with those credentials on LinkedIn. The judge also ruled that the Justice Department and Trump's team by Friday have to jointly file a list of potential candidates for the job, and they need to outline the duties and limits of that person's role. I mean, where do you find someone like that, and who would even want that job? I think it is safe to say that we are a long way away from a special master being appointed, and who knows? The government may decide to fight this ruling in the interim. Joining us now is Ryan Goodman, former special counsel at the Department of Defense and co-editor-in-chief of Just Security. Mr. Goodman, great to see you tonight. So the revelation about nuclear secrets being in the cache of documents seized in August, it seems would add great urgency to all of those questions, right? I mean, how do you think that informs the Justice Department's decision about what to do here?
It's a great question. I think it must mean that they have to act with urgency, that it's got to put a big thumb on the scale, that they appeal her decision immediately, and that they ask the Court of Appeals for an urgent cessation of her ruling. And they can do that. The Court of Appeals could say, while we review your questions of law, we're going to stop what she did to you, and you can go ahead and use the materials for your investigation.
Okay, and would that just stop the process as it is, or sorry, stop the special master process as it is and allow them to move forward with the work, given the sort of implications in terms of national security?
It depends. They could do it one of two ways. They could say you can still use the material while the special master is going on, or they can even say stop the special master as well, because it's such a bizarre notion of a special master to be reviewing documents for executive privilege. We've never had that in this country.
Yeah.
So they could also say, wait, that's also hampering a very critical investigation. Now that we know, like, nuclear materials are in the mix, that would be a reason for them to act quickly.
If that isn't granted, though, what happens here? Because ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, gets to continue her review. But she also, that department needs to work with the rest of the DOJ in tandem, right?
100%. In fact, the government has said that the directive is that the ODNI works with the Department of Justice. They could have named other departments and agencies, but they say the Department of Justice, that's the FBI, et cetera. It's intermingled. So I understand that the judge was saying you can go ahead with the damage assessment, but how? These are the same people. They need to refer back to the FBI agents who've been working the case and say, like, what's the chain of custody for the nuclear document? Are there fingerprints on the nuclear document for the damage assessment? But then those folks have to say, we can't touch it. The judge has said that the order is we can't use it, we're not allowed to look at it, and if we're in the criminal case, we can't talk to you. That's what she has wreaked. That's the havoc she has wreaked. I do think that's why the Justice Department might say to themselves, we've just got to appeal this, and the Court of Appeals might say, we're going to take it.
We're
urgently.
with you on this.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, entertain, for, if you will, this notion of a special master. given the nuclear secrets we're finding out about, how impossible does it make? I mean, like, how impossible is it to find a candidate who can review all of this stuff who's mutually agreed upon by both parties? I mean, that just seems like a fantasy.
I agree. I think it's going to be hard to see on Friday, if they do go through and they don't appeal it, that they will have come together on a common agreement of who could be that special master, because it's such a small universe of people in this country that can even have the qualifications, let alone agreement, because are they somebody who just stepped out of the Trump administration from 2 years ago and they have an active clearance? Plus, that person has to have staff as well, and the Trump lawyers have to be cleared to be able to see nuclear secrets, you know. So this is what she's created for us, in part because we've never had a special master deal with this kind of sensitive information and executive privilege. They deal with attorney-client privilege, which is something they can easily handle.
So you're of the mind, because this is so extraordinary, that the special master is put aside for the moment. The work continues. That's the best case scenario. It sounds like you think that might be the most likely, given the sort of implications for national security vis-a-vis these nuclear secrets. What happens? Let's assume that happens. Then what happens next in the DOJ's investigation, if they can move forward?
If they can move forward, then I do think the 60-day, 90-day rule does start to kick in. It shouldn't necessarily. So I've written about, studied, researched that rule, and all the times it's been applied, it's really supposed to apply to candidates who might be in the election. So Donald Trump doesn't actually fit the bill. But you could imagine Garland says, look, out of an abundance of caution, we're not taking any major overt steps in the investigation until after the midterms. But then after the midterms, it looks like they've got a mountain of evidence in which they might then decide, okay, now's the moment that we have to think about indictment or not.
So they could move fairly quickly, potentially after November, is what you're saying?
I think so.
And do you think there's any recourse for Donald Trump in all of this? Someone who has protested loudly and repeatedly, there was nothing nuclear there, and boom, we have reporting this evening says there was, in fact, nuclear in there, and it was very, very serious classified information.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder, was he trying to get out ahead of this? Because he, you know, if you have nuclear materials in your storage room or in your office, you probably know that. So.
Sounds like from Director Brennan, he would have known that.
Yeah, exactly. I thought what Director Brennan said was totally accurate about that. So it goes to the willfulness and the intentionality that you described as well. So he needs to say, I had no idea that that was there. And he's been already saying that. In some ways, it's even more incriminating that he's been saying it until we now find out that's exactly what was there.
The opposite of what he said is what is true. Something we've heard before with Donald Trump. Ryan Goodman, co-editor-in-chief of Just Security and a law professor at NYU. Thanks so much for your time and expertise tonight.